Hey guys, I'm your host, Farhana, and welcome to Earth's Narrative.
Latinos, and we've always been very avoid hard topics because you have to be cheerful and everything.
It's time we heard the stories of real people working on the front lines to make the world better than yesterday. Time we listen to the real voices of the mental health advocates, the activists, the teachers, the sustainable business owners, the loud and proud change makers of today. We've all been there, scrolling through our feeds, consuming all of this content that may or may not be good for us. We follow trends and diets, laugh at memes about drinking too much wine with wine in your hand, and at some point you stop and think, do I even feel okay? My guest today had to grapple with that same exact question when she started facing her own ideas on wellness. Art director Daniela Maldonado started her personal brand Bia Club in an effort to promote wellness of the body, mind, spirit, and environment. She starts conversations with her audience by developing aesthetic and digestible informational Instagram posts in a fun and engaging way. I'm really super excited for you guys to hear what she has to say, so let's get started.
Thank you for inviting me. Okay, so I'm Daniela. I was born and raised in Mexico City, and I moved to LA probably 5 years ago to study visual communications at fashion school. You might be wondering why fashion school. It's because I was obsessed with Project Runway, and after doing some research, I found out it was recorded at FITM here in LA. So that was the only
reason. You're
pretty stupid, but yeah, that's why I'm here. But I ended up liking it. And then as for why I got into wellness, is kind of a long story. I think it all goes back to both of my parents are doctors. So physical health was never really an issue because, they're there. But mental health was rarely talked about. And now, as I grown up, I realized how it really affected all of us. And I think it's still hard for us to talk about it. I don't know if it has to do because we are Latinos, and we've always been very avoid hard topics because you have to be cheerful and everything. I'm not sure. But okay, so when I was in high school, I was really pressured into being super thin. And my whole family has always liked to be thin. And my mom got me some pills and she started taking them too. They never worked, but they were supposed to be helping us lose some weight. What they really did was causing us thyroid problems. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune condition. And it's basically your antibodies attack your thyroid, which produces hormones and helps you regulate your metabolism. And I started gaining weight. So yay, those pills really did me wrong. So that's why I was really thinking I was trying to be healthy because in my head being healthy and well meant being super skinny and gorgeous, but I really neglected all other dimensions. And then it got worse because my mom, she started taking those pills too, and then she got thyroid cancer. She's well now, but it really affected me. It moved me. I was okay, this is not okay.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I realized the health system here in America, all America, is more about treating sickness than preventing them. Because now with this thyroid condition that I have for life, I have to take pills every single morning to be fine. So I'm treating something that in the beginning I was not supposed to have. So yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that about is that common in Latino culture where it's you'd rather just ignore the difficult problems? And because I know that there's a saying in Brazil and also in Colombia where I can't translate it because I don't speak Spanish or Portuguese, but it's to the extent of we laugh because it hurts too much to cry or something like this. Or
it's deep.
Yeah. And, I just kind of figured it was more because obviously those countries have a lot of political issues, but you're from Mexico City, you're from a relatively stable, you're from a stable home and everything, and this it's still pervasive in this culture, or
it shockingly it is. Like, it's Mexico City. Like, we're supposed to be cosmopolitan and like to have a lot of, like, I don't know, but it might be that my family, like specifically my family, we've always been very like cold, like close to opening about like what's really going on inside our heads.
Yeah.
So like physically we have no problem. Just like, mom, my head hurts. Okay, take 2 pills. But like dip is so hard to talk about with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with Indian families too. It's just like, don't talk about mental health. Like, that's not a thing ever. It doesn't exist. So, and yeah, and like the beauty standards too in Mexico, like, is that common too, as well as like the doctors? Just like, your dad's like a plastic surgeon, right?
Yeah.
So I guess you're like always around that, like, I guess superficial idea of beauty as well.
Yeah, it was crazy because like ever since elementary school, I was kind of forced to lose weight in order to be part of the popular and like pretty girls group. And that really created like a lot of problems for me because I was super close to developing eating disorder.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And my parents wouldn't get it because like they didn't understand like how much the bullying was affecting me. So like eventually, it's not that I got over it because like nowadays I still like have issues with my image, but like it's getting better. It just has to be like recognized.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. And then my dad too, I love him with all my heart, but I still remember one time we were having lunch together and he stared at me, looked at my nose and was like, I'm going to change that. Like, let's schedule you and I'm going to fix your nose. It wasn't even that bad, but I still did it. Yeah.
How old are you?
17.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, I was old enough to like know what I was doing, but I personally didn't felt that I needed surgery. Which is like, it's there. Like, my dad's a surgeon. It's not going to be expensive, so I'll do it.
Yeah. How did that make you feel though? As like, you know, that type of comment coming from your dad of all people?
No, it's shocking, right? Because like supposedly your parents have to see you as like this perfect, beautiful thing because they created you. But I guess like my dad being a plastic surgeon has become so unsensitive to this stuff. And he's just looking at me and my sister as not props, you know, we're just like his work. We're like advertising his job, I guess. But yeah, it was really shocking. Still did it.
Yeah. Do you regret doing that or?
Not really, but I mean, I wouldn't have minded keeping my old nose. It was not that bad, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it is about brown parents and wanting to like fix their children. I mean, my mom constantly comments on my weight and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Like,
no, it's so hard. When I was 9, my mom used to buy me like these tight belts. So I would get my waist like smaller and smaller.
Oh, like a corset kind of.
Yeah. 9 years old.
Jeez. Oh my goodness.
I know. So it's really hard.
Okay, so I'm seeing where all of this like inspiration is coming from because you started Bia Club, which is a blog, and not only a blog, but just like a brand that you're starting for like uplifting women, right? And just encouraging them to be like bold and strong, as you've stated, like on your website and stuff. So why did you decide on the name Bia specifically?
Okay, so I've always been obsessed with mythology, and like I like how they portray women as like these like so powerful goddesses that really don't have a care for what men say. And Bia is actually Nike's sister, and she's like she's basically Force. That's what her name means, and I really liked it. Like, she's not really that talked about, but she was there. She helped Zeus with a lot of stuff. So like, I'm gonna talk about Bia. Like, nobody does, and I'll do it. So that's where the name came from. But yeah, I also started on Instagram because nowadays I see how these influencers and social media in general are affecting how women specifically view ourselves. I was reading the other day, I don't know if you've heard of the movie Cuties on Netflix.
Oh, yes, I was reading about that.
Yeah, so the director said that she talked to a lot of tweens and asked them about how they were viewing like their femininity nowadays, and it's all sexualized. So like now tweens, like little girls are like starting to feel that they have to look a certain way to be recognized everywhere. That hurts me so bad. Like I went through like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a French film. I know that a lot of people are trying to cancel Netflix over that film, but that film aside, I mean, that's the problem still exists everywhere, right? It's like you can't really escape it. It's all over social media. It's all over the TV. It's all over the billboards and everything, you know.
It is.
And they're just like absorbing all of this information. So you created Bia Club as like an alternative to that, or like what exactly are you trying to
support? Because I'm also trying to a little bit highlight more on sustainability and conscious consumerism. Because with the whole COVID thing, when the pandemic started and this financial crisis hit everyone, I really started thinking like, what are we doing to Mother Earth? What are we doing to ourselves? There's a lot of people that are losing their jobs, have nothing to eat. And it's all because we live in a capitalist world?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, it's just insane. I was like, why? How did we get here? And I know most of my friends back in Mexico don't really have the resources or the knowledge to start thinking about this and changing stuff. So I wanted to present it to them in a visual way. I'm an art director, graphic designer, so I really like pretty stuff. Like I like turning information into like very digestible content. So I thought it was like a really good opportunity for me to start designing for myself and for others.
Yeah, I mean, I love, honestly, your style. I love, like, the style that you're taking with just your Instagram posts. And I also really enjoy your writings, too. You talked about the 8 dimensions of wellness. Where did you get that idea from? Was that something that you've done from research, or?
Yeah, it all comes from research. But it's funny because as I was, like, researching, it was like 6 dimensions and then 7 dimensions and then 8 dimensions. I'm like, oh my God, there's like 1,000 dimensions of wellness. It all comes down to this 8. And I started thinking of like how I've been feeling recently. And I really did connect the dots. I was like, there's like financial wellness really like it connects with my emotion. It's like I am now dreaming about financial hardships. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, could you expand a little bit more for the listeners about the 8 dimensions of wellness that you wrote about?
For sure. Okay, I'm gonna read them all. So it's physical, emotional, intellectual, social, spiritual, environmental, occupational, and financial. I think most of us only focus on the physical and emotional, but we don't really focus or nurture, let's say, the spiritual one or the environmental. The social ones being like nowadays something really hard because we are not out there like seeing our friends or like hang out, but you can still be present. You can still be on social media and like connecting, but like really connecting with people. Yeah, I mean, you can read more of it on my blog because it's like really long.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what it all comes down. It's just whatever makes you feel balanced and like well, that you're happy and you feel fulfilled. That's the goal.
Yeah, I definitely think that this, I was talking to someone yesterday and he put it really nicely. He called it a global recalibration, the pandemic. And it's basically like the world was forced to stop and we had to like really think about our purpose in this life, especially with like everything that is going on that you just can't ignore, right? Like there's like an actual like disease that's on the loose that's like killing people. And then there's like clear evidence of climate change with like California burning and things like this. And then like obviously high in unemployment. I mean, all the problems, literally all the problems. And it's just like we all had to like really contest with, how we were living our lives like before then and how we can impact change like for the future. I see a lot of brands also, promoting like wellness and sustainability.
Yeah.
But I think the approach that I really enjoy that you take with Bia Club is you try to integrate as much sustainability and like conscious consumerism as you can when it comes to wellness. So like, what does that look like for you in such a deep capitalist society and world that we live in?
I loved what your friend said. It's like so on point. And yeah, I really hope, because like there's a lot of information out there. That's right. There's a lot of like, you know, once I opened the Instagram for Bia, I started like seeing more brands that looked alike. And some of them were even using the same quotes and pictures. And like this information is out there. It's just how I present it to the people that I know, I love, or like even someone that I don't. But I know it's gonna be super clear and it's gonna make an impact. That's what I care about. Presenting them the facts. If they take them or they're not, I respect it. It's on them. But I'm really trying to push like a change. Like we can't ignore climate change. We can't ignore the financial hardships that are going on. So, yeah.
No, but I want to know, like, what does that look like for you moving forward? You know, just like, what do you visualize, like the impact that you hope that Bia will be making? Yeah.
I'm really on the early stages, so I have to think about it, you know, because I still have a full-time job. Mm-hmm. And lately it's been so hard to manage like the two sides and still like keep nourishing my mental health and my social health. So it's in the early stages. If you guys have any recommendations, please let me know. But I really do want it become a brand, a space for women. I'm even starting to think about like joining with other like brands and selling their sustainable stuff. Like creating a shopping platform for just like female owned sustainable brands. Like maybe even opening a store. I was looking at, there's a lot of retail space in Mexico City, and I know like sustainability hasn't reached its peak there. So I mean, I could be one of them. Bia can be like the space.
Yeah, there's lots of opportunity there.
Yeah,
lots of space to grow, and it's definitely a growing industry too. I just feel like the green industry is definitely growing.
It's the only way to go now, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's just like when I think about like I guess moving forward, I feel like capitalism doesn't really have a space in our future anymore, to be honest, because it's so hard to envision a world without it, because it's like literally everywhere, you know? So it's just like, I don't know, when I was reading through your blog and everything, and like looking at like how I can improve in like my 8 dimensions of like wellness and things, and it's just like, I feel sometimes it's like you focus so much on one thing and then you like ignore the others. And then it's like you focus on the others and then you like forget about this one for a minute. And it's like, how do you just like have this whole cohesive, you know what I mean? I guess it's something we're working towards.
I don't think I know anyone who's reached like complete balance. Like might have reached nirvana. I don't know. They're
Dalai Lama.
Yeah, honestly. Seems so hard, but I guess with a lot of like work and self-improvement is doable. As for the capitalism, yeah, I agree. It's like so hard to think about a world when we're not like spending money or buying stuff just because. I actually want to write about conscious consumerism and how fast fashion has really affected Earth and like even the way we think. Like it's not okay to keep buying clothes that we are only going to use once or twice. And there's like people who are not getting paid enough to make those clothes. And it's a very dirty business.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like you touch on a lot of things too. It's just like, it's not just, I mean, it's so bad, like all around. I mean, it is obviously like the global impact that it has, like financially on, you know, like like developing countries and the economy that it has on that and stuff. But then you were also mentioning just like wellness of like health and like how that looks so different for so many people, you know, because some people I would argue like their idea of health is to completely deprive themselves of anything that is like bad for you.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, like, yeah, I know someone that's just like refuses to eat anything sweet ever because she's just like, I don't want to, like, it's bad for you. It's like cavities or whatever. And I'm like, not even like a donut.
I know.
You know what I mean? So I want to know, like, what does that look like for you, like for Bia and for you specifically? Like, there's obviously like we throw around the term wellness a lot, but then there's like different ways in how what people mean by that when they say the word wellness, right?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I think that for my personal experience, I think I've tried a lot of things too, like fasting or like avoiding gluten, sugars, and to be honest, that never really made me happy. So I'm gonna go for an approach of more like laissez-faire. Whatever makes you happy and makes you feel good, do it. We all know that alcohol is bad, but if you like taking one beer on Saturday evening, then I'm down. And I don't want to promote any unhealthy stuff. Like I hate when influencers talk about wellness and are like talking about all these diets. They're not doctors. Like every single body is different. So like if you want something to work for you, go to a doctor. I tried everything and I got Hashimoto's disease. So
But you went to a doctor. So where do you go?
But my mom wasn't like a
Yeah.
You know, she's like a pediatrician, and she didn't do her research. I didn't do mine, and that's why we ended up in this ugly situation. But again, I also supplements. There's a lot of people who are taking a lot of them. Your body, if you eat healthy, if you eat your greens and your fruits and everything, you have the right supplements. Like you don't need to keep putting stuff in your body that it doesn't really need. But if you have a condition and your doctor advises you to, then do it.
Basically, it's just research at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. And like, try what's good for you. I also took a food sensitivity test. And that's how I found out. Like, all my life, I thought I was fat and bloated. No, it was just lactose. You know, you have to like get to know your body.
Yeah, I love that. I love like the idea of just getting a little bit more intimate with our body. And I feel like so many people, especially women, we don't know enough about our bodies. Like we don't know the functions, what's happening with it, what's going on with it. We don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I have a group of friends and we always get into not arguments, but these really fun discussions because we all have like different ideas, and it all comes down to like get to know your body. Please do, and do your research. But the human body is marvelous. Honestly, it's just so interesting.
What advice can you give to women who are navigating the balance of like the balance of the different things of wellness in their life, like cohesive?
Get to know your body, but also do what makes you happy, and don't really rely on like social media or what others say about you. It's just all comes down to your self-image. I have a good book to recommend. It's called The Self-Acceptance Project. And I think that book really changed my life in a way that it made me realize that I was doing harm to my body in a way that could get irreparable, that I was becoming someone that I was not. But once you try to accept yourself and deal with your issues inside, then everything gets easier. And really, do please try to nurture every dimension of wellness, because we'll want to reach nirvana.
That's so true. Well, thank you so much, Danny. I really enjoyed that. And where can people find you? Where can people find Bia? How often do you like post and things like this?
Okay. For how often? I'm trying to do 2 posts per month, but it all takes research. I really spent like weeks doing the right research because I don't want to promote any false information, or I just want to make sure I'm doing something good and that's gonna work for people. So you can find me on Instagram at bia.club. That's BIA Club. And I think I'm also on Facebook as that. And then biaclub.com. That's the blog. And as for me, you can find me on Danny M. Celis. I don't know if Farhana can tag me.
And that concludes this week's episode. Special thanks to audio and visual director Francisco Echeverri. If you enjoyed today's episode, do us a huge favor and rate us on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. Your rating means a lot and it helps others find the show. New episodes out every single Monday. Don't forget to follow us on whatever platform of your choice so that you never miss another episode. For more updates on what we are up to and future events, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Earth's Narrative. You can also follow me, your host, on Instagram at FarhanaAli_ to keep up to date with all of my projects. All right, that's it for now. Until next week. Ciao.